This morning's matchup will be a good one nonetheless, and a quarterfinal matchup here on Championship Saturday as we're into the Easter break. The coaches meeting at the plate. Coach Carlos Avila, the skipper of the ZT Prospects 14U Major team. Bryce Massaneri, the head coach of the club playing against them this morning, the MTBA Dogs, two solid organizations. Your head umpire today, Alfonso. He'll be behind the plate. He'll manage balls and strikes, keep the game in order as he should, working with his partner Joe on the infield. A two-man crew here for this quarterfinal matchup this morning. The Prospects will be the away team, and the MTBA Dogs will be your home team. They'll start things out on the defensive side. The Prospects will swing it as we go into first inning here this morning. Once again, great weather. We've had some incredible winds over the last couple of days, and it's not too bad here yet this morning. We're heading towards the 11 a.m. hour on this Saturday morning. We welcome you across the country, those folks that are joining us live. It is Las Vegas time here, the Super Regional NIT. The winner, of course, of these big regional NIT events get an automatic bid into the championships at the end of the season this year. And to learn more about tournaments within your area, go to pg.org. Well, on the defensive side, Heisler will take the mound for the club, right-handed hurler for the club. Behind the plate, Trantham, he'll do the catching, manage things for the team. Over on the first base side in the 3 spot. Conley over in the 4 spot. Take a look there. It looks as though we're getting that number here. And he doesn't have it listed, but I'm assuming it's going to be Kim. Yeah, Kim will be over in the 4 spot. We've got that corrected there. In the 5 spot, Perry on 3rd. And in the 6th position, Hermosura, the shortstop, will take care of business there. Out on left side, Myers will be in left field. Over in the 8th spot, Lizot will handle things out there for the club in the center field position, managing things for their group and rounding things out on the right side. Newman, that's the defensive set for the MTBA Dogs. We'll be ready to roll here this morning. A win or go home situation for either club. Quarterfinal matchup. And good conditions prevail here this morning. There's been a number of facilities used throughout the course of this particular tournament. It was a 3-day event. Tournament started on Thursday with pool play, Friday ended pool play, and of course here today, the championship bracket. The quarterfinal matchup, ready to start here in just a moment. Stay with us. 2025 Perfect Game Super Regional NIT here in Las Vegas rolls on. We'll be right back. So Trantham fires down to second base, and he'll meet with his guys at the mound as Coach Trey for the ZT Prospects national team. He'll manage third base for the club. And down on the first base side, Coach Sam, he'll take care of business there. Coach Ronnie, the pitching coach, he'll work inside the dugout area with the skipper, Carlos Avila. Well, our head umpire, Alfonso, will set the table for everybody, and players shaking hands as they should, showing some good sportsmanship there. And the leadoff batter for the Prospects, Nateo Monster Victoria, will step in. We're ready to go. Quarterfinal matchup. Heisler ready to deal. Victoria in the box. Alfonso puts it in play. And a ball up and out. The count is 1-0. Victorio takes a cut, fouls it back. And the count goes even to 1-1 here. If you're just joining us early on here, we welcome you. And a ball low in the zone. The count goes to 2-1 on Victorio. And a ball out that goes to 3-1. So Victorio takes a look on the outer third of the plate as Heisler settling in here facing the leadoff batter. And on deck for the club, Brody Taylor. The 3-1 pitch. And a strike on the inner third. So Victorio takes a look, and Heisler will put the strike up, and the count goes full at 3-2. And a ball cut to the left side and foul out of play. Left fielder, a long route, good effort nonetheless, but a little bit of wind up there in the upper part. Kind of going out of, really more towards center, left center area. That ball tailed off, but no play. So Victoria will reload, step back in. Heisler as well will get reset on the hill. And a 3-2 count continues to roll here. And a ball up, just missing there. So Victoria will get on board with a walk. And stepping in will be Brody Taylor. Heisler will work from the stretch with Victoria over on the first base side. Conley over on the first base side for the Dogs will hold him on. Joe, the infield umpire, just checking things out with Heisler, make sure he's good. We're ready to go. And a ball out, the count goes to 1-0. So Taylor leaves that out. As Heisler just, as I mentioned here early on, just settling in. And Taylor and the prospects with Victoria over on first. And a ball's up, fastball upstairs, and the count goes to 2-0. Heisler from the stretch takes a look. Pitch on the way. And a strike called there. Taylor lays off, and Heisler gets one back. And the count is 2-1. And Taylor takes a cut, fouls it off, and Heisler able to knot it up at a 2-2 count. Early on here, top of the first frame, Victorio gets on with a walk. And a ball just out, missing the curveball, and the count goes full at 3-2. Conley holding Victorio on. Modest lead for Nateo. Runner goes. Ball 4 outside. So Brody Taylor disciplined at the plate. Finds himself on board. And Heisler administering 2 walks here back-to-back on the leadoff hitter and the 2-man. And that'll bring up Jordan Leon. And a quick visit out to the bump from Coach Bryce. We'll be right back. So the conversation concluded out on the hill, and the prospects runners will get reset. Victorio at second and Taylor over at first, and Jordan Leon will step in. And Jordan takes a cut, fouls it straight back, and the count is 0-1. A lot of shuffling around at second base. Ball missing out. The count goes to 1-1. So Leon not chasing the outer third. Long hold here for Heisler from the stretch. Second baseman shuffling around. Ball is low, and Leon not biting there, and the count goes to 2-1. And a ball out, a 3-1 count. So the curveball missing on the outer third. And Heisler with a 3-1 count to Jordan Leon, the 3-hitter for the club. On deck, Blake Barberena for the Prospects with no outs. And a strike there, so Heisler answers back. And the count is 3-2, so a full count. Heisler running his numbers up early on his arm with full counts and so far 2 walks. So pitching count is something that coaches certainly are adverse to, and especially in these situations. And time is called at the plate. And Trantham says, hey, I want to go talk to you real quick and make sure that they get their signals correct. And they get that taken care of, and Alfonso will put it back in play as Leon locks back in. A full count. And outside ball 4. So Jordan Leon disciplined there as well, and Heisler puts the 3 batters on, and back-to-back-to-back walks here. So Heisler a little bit of trouble here this morning just to get things started off. And Blake Barberena will step in. With no outs, the Prospects with an opportunity here early on in the first frame. Well hit ball deep to center field. That could drop in, and a tag up there. There's trouble at second. And like that, Brody Taylor, an errant move off of second base. And Taylor, I like to think about that again with the bases juiced and a line fly shot to center. So not sure what happened there. Thought everybody was tagging up and on the move, but nobody moved off a third in Victoria. So an opportunity missed there for the Prospects. Jimmy Stout will step in. Ball upstairs, the count's 1-0. Ball low, the count goes to 2-0. Heisler still from the stretch. Runners at the corners now. Right side, shallow, could drop in, and it does. So Jimmy Stout comes up, ball thrown into third, and backed up there is the short third baseman. So Jimmy Stout delivers, and they'll pick up a run. So the Prospects, they'll bring one over. With 2 outs on the books, and Brandon Manavong steps in the box with Jordan Leon over on the third base side. Moeller running over on the first base side for the Prospects. A hard line drive. That ball's going to score one. And rounding hard, and a good throw in. So they cut it in quickly, but Brandon Manavong gets into the act and finds himself on board with a single, and Jordan Leon comes over. So Moeller parked at third and Manavong over on the first base side. A hard hit ball, line shot to right center. They brought it in quickly. Center fielder, good arm, but just no option at third on the play. So Bedard will step in with runners at the corners and 2 outs in the first frame. Time is called. D will step out.
Go D, stay hot, kid.
And a strike outside. Heisler works ahead. The count is 0-1. And a ball up. And the count goes to 1-1. Toss over to the first base side, and no movement there for Manavong as of yet. And swing and a miss there for Bedard, and the count is 1-2. They're going to play the game here and over on the third base side. So no option even with the tag on there with the 3-foot throw. I think they just let him go. So they let Manavong get over to second. Moeller was not moving. And Bedard with a 1-2 count on him. So Bedard, opportunity here. Heisler and his club trying to get out on the other side. And Bedard takes a cut, fouls it off. Top of the first. 1-2 count holds here with 2 outs. Time called. Bedard will step out. Granted at the plate. And Bedard locks back in. And fastball up and out. The count goes to 2-2. So back to the 2s here across the board. 2 balls, 2 strikes with 2 outs. For number 2, Daniel Bedard. Long hold here for Heisler. Time called again, so a little bit of chess going on between Bedard and Heisler. And now a visit out to the mound. So Bedard steps back in. He'll reload. Moeller over at third, and a little bit of trash over on the third base side. They can take care of that, get it off the field as Joe puts it back in play. We're ready to go. And chopped at the plate, and Bedard stays alive. Time called again, so Bedard Steps in and out. Alfonso puts it back in. Strike 3 call. Bedard gets caught looking. They'll strand 2, but they pick up 2. The prospects, they strike first. Manavong and Jimmy Stout. The couple of knocks, they pick up a pair. And we will head to the bottom of the first frame. ZT National Prospects 2-0 over the MTBA Dogs. Chris Aller with the call. Quarterfinal matchup, championship Saturday. The 2025 Perfect Game Super Regional NIT here in Las Vegas. We'll be right back. Stay with us. Well, as the prospects get on the defensive side here, they started off here in the top of the first frame 2-0. And again, opportunity here for the prospects here this morning as they get underway. Good morning, TL. Always nice to see her as she's moving around, chatting it up with everybody, the parents, and of course, doing a fine job for ZT Corporate, Miss TL. Good morning.
Good morning, Chris Aller.
All right, well, let's do it here. The defensive side on the hill. Nate Hanley-White, the right-handed hurler for the club. He'll take care of business starting things off as a pitcher behind the plate. Jimmy Stout over on the first base side down the line there will be Danielle Bedard. At first base over on the second base side, Blake Barberena. Third base in the 4 spot, Jordan Leon. Correction. In the 5 spot, over in the 6 spot, Brandon Manavong. In left field, Cameron Walters. Center field, Brody Taylor. He'll roam there and manage things out in the outfield over on the right side. Finishing things off in the 9 spot, Mateo Victorio. So Alfonso, our head umpire, get ready to set the table, clean things off at home plate. Great field here. Grass is healthy and infield solid, so we're ready to go here as Hermosura will start things off for the club. Bottom of the first, 2-0 prospects. Fastball up and in, gets the upper part of the ladder there, goes upstairs, and the count is 0-1. So Nate sets the tempo for himself here. The 0-1 pitch. Curveball, strike there. So good movement. So Hanley with an 0-2 count right out of the box here with 2 pitches on Hermosura. Fastball upstairs, so a heavy hand there for Hanley as he's dealing. And the count goes to 2-2. And a ball cut foul, straight back out of play. And another foul ball straight back. Hermosura takes a cut on it. And Hanley ready to deal here. The 2-2 count. And hit by pitch. That gets away from Nate, and Hermosura takes one between the wings there. And he'll find himself on board the hard way. And it just gets away from Nate. So a hit by pitch and runner on board. That'll bring up the 2-hitter. Lysot. And Coach Bryce just checking on Hermosura, and he'll head down to first base. And Lizotte will step in. So Badar holding on Hermosura, and Nate will work from the stretch. Ball cut foul and out of play, left side. Badar holding on Hermosura over on the first base side. On the move, Hermosura, a good throw down. The tag is on and safe at second. So Stout came out quickly, a good throw down as Barbarena laid the tag on, and Hermosura will move up 90 feet and a ball at the plate. Time is called. Stout, quick conversation with Nate. So 1-1 count for Lizotte. Fastball, Hanley gets that through. And the count is 1-2. And a ball's cut foul off to the left side and out of play. The count holds at 1-2 for the two-hitter Lizotte. Nate takes a look. Time called, no pitch. So Alfonso. Beautiful backdrop here with the mountain range in the background, a great field. And high fastball again. Lizotte taking a cut, fouls it off. Baseballs are at a premium on a day like today. Lots of fouling off going on. And Nate shakes off the call there. Sees what he likes, ready to go. Takes a look at second, pitch on the way. Ball's hit to the left side. Backing up, Cameron Walters. And a no tag at second. They bring it in quickly, and Manavong will reel it in. So the relay back in, and a good cut for Lizotte, but Walters was on him right off the barrel, and 1 out on the books. Conley will step in the three-hitter. Hermosura still at second base. Line shot, that ball will drop in. They're rounding Hermosura, or they're going to hold him up. Brody Taylor brings it in quickly on way to second. The throw there, the tag is on. And a bang-bang play at second base. And Lizotte was on the move. And a hard into second, but the tag was slapped on and called out on the infield. The infield umpire, Joe, makes the call. So smart base running nonetheless, and Jimmy Stout unloaded a rocket, and Hermosura stayed parked at third in the mix of all that, and now there's 2 outs. Good stop out in front for Jimmy Stout. And strike call. So the 1-1 count for Conley. Hard hit ball, and just outside of the reach, and Hermosura will come across. So Conley gets a rip to the right side. Barberena elevated, he went up, and just outside the reach of his glove. And a line drive with a single and an RBI for Conley. So they bring one over. It's a 2-1 affair. And Perry, the third baseman, will step in. Perry hits in the 4 spot. As Nate fires over to Bedard, Conley gets back in. It's a 1-0 count. Fastball, right side, foul and out of play. So Heisler cuts it foul, and the count is 1-1. Coach Ronnie checking on his guys and wants to range up some of the defense here. Pitch on the way. Curveball in for the strike. Good movement for Nate. And he'll work here with a 1-2 count on Heisler. Slow roller, Manavong. Underhand toss. And unbelievable with 2 outs, the prospects, and an error at second on an underhand toss to Barberena, in and out of his glove. So instead of being out of the inning, they've got runners at first and second. And 2 outs. Stepping in will be DeGrazia. Ball is low. The count is 1-0. So Jimmy putting his work in here early on, keeping that ball out in front. Perry at second. Heisler at first. Ball missing. The count's 2-0. Nate's able to locate. And a 3-1 count here. Breaking ball, drop for the ball, and now the bases are loaded. And a walk there as Coach Ortiz goes out to talk to Nate. And a situation unfolding here. Stay with us. We'll be right back. So back to live action, ready to go here. Bases loaded. DeGrazio gets on with the walk. Tranthian will step in the 7-hitter. And 2 outs on the books here in the bottom of the first frame. Fastball upstairs. The count is 1-0.
Go 1-5. You got it, babe. Walk back in, babe. You're good.
And a good pitch there. Nate locates and evens things up. The count is 1-1. curveball out, and the count goes to 2-1. And a good pitch there, fouled straight back. And a cut at the plate from Trantian, and the count goes to 2-2. So Nate looking for his out pitch. And we'll see what he throws here with a 2-2 count. Shaking off, sees what he likes there, ready to go. The 2-2 pitch. Ball is low, the count goes full to 3-2. What a dicey inning there. That could have been an expensive inning. Boy, off the glove there, I was thinking, man, that ball, man, and Brandon was able to charge it. He was lined up well, which was good. Yeah. They got one out of the deal, but that was says they came out unscathed on that one with the bases loaded. The MTBA Dogs were able to bring one across. They were successful there. It's a 2-1 affair. As promised, a good matchup here. As they fire it down to second base, Heisler will be ready to go, and stepping in will be Cameron Walters. The prospects here in this inning will go 8-9-1. So Alfonso puts it in play. Walters steps in. We're ready to go here. Top of the second. Ball is low. The count is 1-0. And a ball out, missing, and the count goes to 2-0. So Walters just looking for something here. Heisler on the other side. The 2-0 count on Walters. And a strike there. Heisler makes the adjustment. And the count goes to 2-1. Ball's upstairs, fastball, missing up. The count goes to 3-1. On deck for the prospects, Nate Handley-White. Nate, the pitcher of record for the prospects, starting things off. And a 3-1 pitch. Strike called, gets the outer third, low. But the strike called at the plate. The count goes full at 3-2. Right side, ball's going to drop in the gap, and on board with a single, Cameron Walters. So Walters gets on board with a nice stroke to left center, and that'll bring in Nate Handley-White. Walters with good speed. With a modest lead there just to start off, looking to maybe get a secondary, which he starts to. Pitch on the way. Strike outside. Nate takes a look. The count is 0-1. And back-to-back, Hanley taking a look. And an 0-2 count. Heisler right here with an opportunity. And hard shot. They get one there. And a double play. 6-4-3, they turn it. And Hanley right into the glove at shortstop. And Hermosura reels that in. So the base is empty with 2 outs, and Victoria will step in. And a ball low, the count's 1-0. And Victoria lays off as the ball is low in the zone. The count's 2-0. And Natea looks at a strike. Count is 2-1. And Victoria takes a cut there. And the count goes to 2-2. Well, back to live action here. Nate takes the bump and get a couple warm-up tosses in. We'll be ready to go here in the bottom of the second. As Stout So Joe puts it in play. We're ready to go. And good pitch. Victorio in right field. Lays it out in the and the ball's fouled off. The count goes full at 3-2. And ball 4, so Nate walks Newman, the 8-hitter. And stepping in Myers, the left fielder. And Bedar for the Prospects will hold on. Bunt attempt fouled off. Count is 0-1. Curveball in for the strike as Myers pulls back. And the count is 0-2. Manavong, 1. Barbarena, 2. Oh, safe down on the first base side. Good speed down the line. And Myers gets down on board. They get the force at second. Manavong underhand toss there, but not able to convert it. They get one out. Back to the top of the order. Homasura will step in. Myers over at first. Pitch on the way. Curveball in for the strike. The count is 0-1. And again, back-to-back pitch. Sliders there, actually. Curveball slider. And the count's 0-2. So a good sequence so far for Nate Hanley-White. Fastball upstairs. Good sequence all the way through. And Nate gets the strikeout. And 2 outs. And that'll bring up the 2-hitter Lysot. And Nate runs it outside. The count's 1-0. Long way for Leon. Just right in with a 1-1 count. And hit by pitch there. And a curveball breaking really early and getting Lizotte in the backside there. So Hanley-White. And a good block out in front, throw down. And that gets away. And it could be a play at home. The tag is on. And called out at the plate. What a bang-bang play again as Myers came in hard as Jordan Leon recovered. He blocked the ball off of the third base side. It caromed off to his right in the grass and fired a bullet in, and Jimmy Stout slapped the tag on. As promised and advertised, a great matchup for both of these teams and some exciting plays thus far. We'll head to the top of the third. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Well, we're ready to go here in the top of the third frame, 2-1. ZT Prospects and Brody Taylor will lead things off for the club. They go 2-3-4 here in the top of the third frame. We're through 2. And as promised, a good matchup. Heisler stays on the bump. Joe puts it in play. We're ready to go. Brody Taylor, chop foul to the right side and out of play. And Heisler gets that through, swing and a miss for Taylor. And Heisler ahead in the count at 0-2. And a curveball just missing. And the count goes to 1-2 on Brody Taylor. Taylor right side, pulled foul again. Brody like to straighten that out down on the first base side. And the count holds at 1-2.
BT, you got a kid?
And a ball is low for Heisler. The count evens up at 2-2. And Taylor right side goes foul. Slow roller. And Taylor like to have that back. Easy out there for Heisler. And one down here, and Jordan Leon will step in. A correction, ball was foul. My apologies there. We'll back that out. So Brody Taylor stays locked in. Taylor, left side. So Brody continues to battle here with 2-2 count. And no outs here in the top of the third. And hit by pitch. After all that work, Brody Taylor, he comes out on top there. He gets tagged and finds himself 90 feet down to first. So that gets away from Heisler. He'll put on Brody Taylor. And bringing up the 3-hitter, Jordan Leon. Taylor shaking it off a bit over at first. Heisler will work from the stretch as Joe puts it in play. Fastball upstairs. The count is 1-0. They go there, high throw. They get the out, and out it's first. So Carlos Avila wants to consult here. That was a questionable play there. And off at second. So nonetheless, a solid call will hold. Carlos just wanted to check there, so they turn it and clear the bases. And And Blake Barberena will step in with the bases empty. And a strike there. The count is 0-1. Barberena deep. Ball's got some carry to it. That ball's gone. So Barberena pulls the trigger. He goes to the right side and clears the yard. And I can tell you this much, with all the wind we've had here, he was fortunate with no wind on that shot. Solid off the barrel. Barberena, a solo home run. So Blake answers back for the prospects after the bags were cleared on the force and then the out on a 4-3 putout. And Jimmy Stout will step in. The prospects bring over their third run. It's a 3-1 affair. And a strike in the low part of the zone. Count is 0-1. So Jimmy Stout lays off there. Heisler works ahead. Jimmy Stout, right side, could drop in, and it will. Stout on board with a single. So Manavong will step in with Stout at first. They're going to run for him, and Mason Moeller will step in and run for the catcher, Jimmy Stout. So Joe, our head umpire, cleaning off home plate. Get a nice view there, and Manavong will step in. As Joe puts it back in play, we're ready to go. Heisler works from the stretch. And Moeller just a modest lead over on the first base side. Strike outside, the count is 0-1. And Manavong tagged between the wings there, so he takes his shot. And Heisler has put a couple guys on here, hit by pitch. And Daniel Badar will step in. Runners at first and second. And a visit out to the mound from Coach Bryce. Conversation will ensue. We'll be right back. So a pitching change. Conley will come in for the MTBA Dogs and get his warm-up tosses, and we'll be ready to go here in the top of the third frame. The prospects on a solo home run for Blake Barberena. He clears the yard, and on a solo shot, bringing across their third run. It's a 3-run affair with runners at first and second for the prospects. You've got Manavong over on the first base side. Moeller running over at second and fourth, and fastball up. The count is 1-0. So Mueller at second base, or Masura, the shortstop for the club, in tight on him with good speed in Manavong. First baseman's ranged up as well as the rest of the defense. Time is called. Bedar steps out. And the ball's upstairs, and the count goes to 2-1. Correction, 2-0. Conley, the ball just didn't break on the curve. Conley steps off, Bedar steps out. Ball out, upstairs again, and the count is 3-0 to Bedar. And a strike inside. So Conley locates the inner part of the plate. Bedar lays off, and the count is 3-1. A good-looking pitch there for Conley. Bedar left side. That ball shallow, could drop in. And a good grab from shortstop. Hermosura takes care of it. They leave two. They pick up one as Barbarena plays the long ball. And it's a 3-1 affair. We'll head to the bottom of the third. We'll be right back. Ball goes upstairs. The count is 1-0. Curveball in for the strike. Good movement there. Conley lays off. And the count goes even at 1-1. Fastball. Conley takes a cut, fouls it off. The count is 1-2. So MTBA Dogs go 3-4-5 here in the bottom of the third frame. And Conley putting his bat out there to foul it off. Curveball just missing. And Jimmy thought he had a strike called coming out of the pop there, and the count goes to 2-2. Brody charging. And Taylor off the barrel. A good stroke for Conley, and Brody Taylor had to go to his right out of center and was able to reel it in. The 1 out as Taylor takes care of that for the club. So an 0-2 count here for Perry. Perry hitting in the 4 spot for the club. And 1 out on the books. Bedard pulls that in and out in foul territory. And Perry steps back in. The 0-2 pitch. Roller. Third base side, Jordan Leon. And a good play there for Leon off the third base side. So a 5-3 put out on the books for Jordan Leon to Bedard. So 2 outs on the books here. And Hessler will step in. And Handley lets that go. And hit by pitch. We'll bring in DeGrazia. And Heisler over on the first base side. Bedard will hold him on with 2 outs. Bottom of 3. Pitch on the way. Ball's upstairs, and the count. Ball missing. The count is 2-1. Ball's chopped foul out of play. And the count evens up at 2-2. So Nate working DeGrazia here to a 2-2 count. And out in front, could have a play at second. A 1-hopper. And in and out of the box there, and the count will go full at 3-2. Jimmy came out quickly, but off the bags fast was Heisler, and he's in at second with a stolen base. A full count at the plate. Center field shallow, and Barberena will handle that one right to him. Didn't have to move, and they'll strand one. We'll head to the 4th. Prospects will get on the offensive side. They lead this one 3-1. Quarterfinal matchup here, the championship Saturday, the 2025 Perfect Game, Super Regional NIT. We'll be right back. In the top of the 3rd, Barberena was able to go deep, cleared the yard on a solo home run. He had runners at first and second, but then a situation where they were able to get both runners out. And some tight plays, some good action here so far this morning. We're now heading just a little past the noon hour here in Las Vegas. And Cameron Walters will step in. The prospects here in the top of the fourth, they'll go 8-9-1. Nate Hanley White, the pitcher of record thus far for the prospects, on deck. And Walters will step in. And a high flyer to center. And one out. So Nate will step in, hitting in the 9 spot with Victorio on deck. Nate fouls it off to the right side and out of play. And Conley trying to get that curveball, had a release point rather elevated there, and just no movement on the ball. Count is 1-1. And finally makes the adjustment there, and Hanley takes a look, and it's a 1-2 count. Ball's outside, the count goes to 2-2. And fouled off to the right side. Conley, from my observations, obviously his best pitch is his curveball. He seems to be getting the majority of his strikes called there, and a 2-2 count. Fouled straight back, and the 2-2 count holds on Hanley White. So Nate, with one out on the books here. Time called, Nate steps out. Nate right side, and one hopper. That ball was fair and in and out of the glove of Perry. So they're going to run for Nate, gets on board. And Mason Moeller will step over to first base. And Monster Victorio will step in. One out. Conley's got a direct line of sight off the mound over to first base, and Moeller just with a modest lead. Ball is low. The count is 1-0. Victorio shallow. That ball could drop in, and it does. And Moeller's going to shut it down at second. And Victorio with a shallow knock onto right center drops in for a single, and that'll bring up Brody Taylor. So one out for Taylor with Moeller at second, Victorio at first, and Hermosura in Moeller's back pocket. Brody, right side. That ball's deep. That ball's got carry, and we'll say so long. Brody Taylor gets into the scene here today and goes deep to right field and clears the yard. A 3-run shot, Taylor.
Good job, Brody.
So the prospects and Brody Taylor deal a heavy punch here in the top of the 4th, and Jordan Leon will step in with 1 out and the bag's cleared. And a strike there. Conley will work ahead. The count is 0-1. Jordan, right side, and the ball's out of play. So the count is 0-2 to Leon. And Jordan at a 1-2 count. And swing there and a miss. Strike out there for Leon as he chases the low part of the plate. And Blake Barberena will step in. And a ball low. The count is 1-0. And Blake takes a cut there. And Conley evens things up. The count goes to 1-1. Ball out, 2-1 count. And 3-1 count to Barberena. Blake not going after that as Conley with the curveball. He's got a lot of movement. And a hitter's count at 3-1. Strike there, no, ball 4. So Barberena gets on board with a walk after a solo home run. And Jimmy Stout will step in, the catcher. Stout doing a fine job behind the plate for the prospects. And Jimmy will step in. Barberena at first. Conley from the stretch looks right at him at first base. And Jimmy fouls it back. The count is 0-1. Conley will work ahead here with 2 outs. Ball's deep, right side. Center fielder making a move to his left. He'll pull it in. Well, the long ball, Brody Taylor, he comes up big for the prospects here. We'll go to the bottom of the 4th. It's a 6-1 affair. We'll be right back. Well, back to live action as we head towards the 12:30 hour here, Pacific Standard Time. We're here in Vegas. You're enjoying the 2025 Perfect Game Super Regional NIT. Another great event put on by Perfect Game. Noah doing a fine job for PG here this weekend, keeping the scores official, tracking batters and things in check for all the coaches, and special thanks to him for all his good work. Hanley ready to go, and Joe puts it in play. Bottom 4. And right out of the box, a strike. The count is 0-1. Time called. Steps back in. And a ball up. Slider there. And the count goes to 1-1. And Hanley goes upstairs, a 2-1 count. And a big cut there. So Trantham takes a big cut, and the count goes to 2-2. Curveball, swing and a miss, strike 3. So Hanley White with a good pitching sequence there gets the strikeout. And Newman will step in, the 8-hitter. Curveball missing there. The count is 1-0. And a good pitch there. Slow roller in the box. They're going to play it. They're going to have to get it quick. And they do. So Jimmy Stout takes care of it. As Newman, just a chopper about 5 feet in front of home plate. And he'll have a seat with 2 outs. So Stout handles it himself, and that'll bring in Myers with 2 outs. Fastball up, the count's 1-0. And a strike there. Nate comes back and evens things up. And a changeup there on the outer third of the plate, and the count goes to 1-1. And a good pitch, runs the outer third, gets the upper part of the strike zone, and Hanley White with a 1-2 count and 2 outs here to the 9-hitter Myers. The 1-2 pitch, fastball up and out. The count goes even to 2-2. And Manavong trying to reach out to his right, and Myers gets on board with a single as that gets through in the 5-6 hole. And Myers on board. That'll bring up back to the top of the order. Hermosura will step in. And Coach Ronnie's going to have a visit out to the mound. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Well, we're ready to go. Hermosura steps in. He's got a runner in Meyer over at first. Nate from the stretch. 2 outs. Curveball in for the strike. Good movement there. So Nate works ahead. And the count is 0-1. And a ball missing there. The count goes to 1-1. Throw back over. Infield umpire Alfonso calls him safe as Meyer gets back in plenty of time. Nate just letting him know, hey, I see you over there. The 1-1 pitch. Left side, that's going to get through the 5-6 again. So 2 hits back-to-back in the 5-6 hole, and runners at first and second with 2 outs. So another single. And the 2-hitter will step in. So Lazat will step in. Prospects looking to get the out. Runners at first and second, 2 outs. And again, what you never want to do is let up on the pedal here, even with a big lead, and a curveball in for the just missing. Looked like a strike there, and no call. The count's 1-0. So a good pitch on the inner third, but just missing. Lazat steps out. Good gather there for Barberena and a good play. Well executed. They leave 2 on the bags, and Barberena comes up with a 4-3 put out for the 3rd out, and Hanley and company will get back to the offensive side. It's a 6-1 affair. The 2020-25 perfect game. Super Regional NIT Chris Allard with the call. It's been a pleasure throughout the course of this tournament. It started on Thursday, and quite a few teams showed up here in Vegas for this particular event. And we're on Championship Saturday here today. Conley will take the bump. He'll stay on the hill for the MTBA Dogs, and we will be right back. Well, back to live action here. Manavong will start things off in the top of the 5th frame. 6-1 prospects. Conley stays on the hill. We're ready to go. And a bunt attempt there for Manavong. Fouled in the box. And Brandon will come back, and the count is 0-1. And Brandon takes a cut, fouls it straight back. And the count is 0-2. B, right side, could get through. A long route to get there, and in and out of the glove on the second base side. And a good effort nonetheless for Kim over at second. And Manavong will get on board. Danielle Badar will step in. Lefty-lefty matchup for Badar and Conley. And the ball is low. The count is 1-0. So D lays off there, not chasing, and Conley works from the stretch. Manavong over at first. Perry holds him on. And a strike upstairs, and Conley goes up in the zone, gets the strike called, and the count goes to 1-1. Badar pops up, foul territory. Third baseman pulls that in. And a routine grab for Heisler over on third. So one out, and Cameron Walters will step in. Strike there. Conley works ahead. The count's 0-1. Runner goes. Curveball in for the strike. Throw down to second. And Manavong in with the stolen bag. Trantham with a good throw down, but Manavong had a good jump. A strike called at the plate. The count's 0-2 to Walters. And Conley will step off. Good point. And a good grab on the right side, so Walters flies out over to Newman in right field. And 2 outs on the books. Hanley will step in. Manavong at second. Pitch on the way. Ball's cut foul, straight back. And Nate lays off there. And a big cut at the plate there for Hanley White. And the count goes to 1-2. Line shot. Second baseman, routine play. He was right there. And that'll put out. They'll leave one in Manavong on the bags. We'll head to the bottom of the fifth. A 6-1 affair. We'll be right back. Well, we're ready to go here in the bottom of the fifth, 6-1 Prospects. And with a three-hitter, they go 3-4-5 here. And Conley will step in. And fastball up, the count's 1-0. Brody Taylor backs up, high off the barrel there, and Taylor pulls it in for the first out. Stepping in Perry. And a strike at the plate, the count's 0-1. And the ball's up, the count goes to 1-1. And good pitch on the inner third, and the count goes to a ball and 2 strikes. And that gets away. The count goes to 2-2. Right side. And Bedar, and should have had a play there over on the first base side. D was moving towards the bag, and Barbarena was ranged up in second. So just a little bit of a little confusion there, but Perry gets on board with a single nonetheless. D thought maybe Barbarena was going to roll to it. And Jimmy Stout walks out to talk to Hanley. Heisler steps in with 1 out. And a good pitch there, fastball up the middle. The count is 0-1. Back to back, good pitch, fouled off. Heisler takes a cut, and Hanley works ahead at 0-2. And a good pitch, strike 3 called. So Nate Hanley White does a fine job. He gets himself up to the count that's maxed out. And a fine job for Nate and the Prospects. He gets 2 outs on the books. He goes 5 2/3 and pitching a gem for his club. When they'll turn it over, and Coach Ortiz will hand the ball off to Mason Muller. Some warm-up tosses will be ready to go. Well, we're ready to go here. Moeller takes over. He gets his warm-up tosses in. Joe will set the table for Moeller. The prospects with 2 outs on the books here in the bottom of the 5th with a runner on. Moeller, strike outside. And the count is 0-1. And Moeller goes outside and low. The count goes to 1-1. So DeGrazia, the 1-1 count. Moeller runs it out, and the count's 2-1. And on board with a single. And stepping in, Trainton will step in for the club with runners at first and second. Time has expired. There'll be no new innings, as 12:40 was where the time clock expired based on the start of the game. So prospects just trying to get their out here and finish up. And the ball is low. The count's 1-0. And a ball is up. The count is 2-0. And ball low. The count's 3-0. So DeGrazia taking all the way here. And a strike called. The count's 3-1. So 3-1 count. DeGrazia will step in, 2 outs. Ball 4, so the bases are loaded. And a walk administered by Moeller. So Newman will step in. And the count is 1-0. And Moeller answers back with a strike. The count is 1-1. Moeller. And a knock over on the right side goes foul for the batter Newman, and the count is 1-2 with 2 outs. And Moeller, count is 2-2. And Moeller, a hit by pitch. And a runner will come over and parry. And they pick up their second run on a hit by pitch with the bases loaded and 2 outs. Coach Ortiz has a slow walk out to the mound. We'll be right back. So a 1-0 pitch, and Myers the full count, and Mueller just settling in here, and ball is low. The count is 2-0. And a 3-0 count. So Mueller having trouble here and just trying to get an out for his club. Bases loaded. He walked in a run. And Mueller struggling here for the Prospects. And a strike there. He's answered back with 3-0 counts on him, but then just trying to find his way here. And his defense to do the work for him. Pitch on the way. Slow roller. Jimmy Stout will take it. Foul ball. And the count goes full. Full count. And everybody will be on the move here. With a 3-2 count. Defense is ranged up. Mueller ready to deal. The 3-2 pitch. And in time. So the Prospects had to grind it out to get the win as the MTBA Dogs were giving it their best. They loaded them up. They brought one over, and good work nonetheless. So the Prospects, they'll move on to the semifinals. That'll be brought to you live here at 2 o'clock this afternoon, and the players will shake hands at home plate. And some good playing on both sides. Brody Taylor and Blake Barbarena played the long ball. Taylor really opened this one up with a 3-run shot, and Barbarena with a solo shot. But the players and coaches shake hands. That's what it's all about. I'd like to thank our umpires here today. Joe taking care of business behind the plate. Partner Alfonso on the infield. Doing a nice work for perfect game. The coaches are shaking hands, and again, that's what it's all about. Chris Aller with the call. The Prospects, they move on to the semifinals. We're bringing it to you live here this afternoon at 2 o'clock. For now, this one's in the books. The Prospects win it 6-2. We'll be right back at 2 o'clock. For now, we're saying so long from Vegas, the 2025 Perfect Game Super Regional NIT.